Happy Friday.
Hey, how's it going? Therapy Flow community, welcome in.
Hey, if you guys are hopping in for a second here, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a like so you know that you're with us and that you can help other people see this. It really helps us out if you're able to do that. So we'd appreciate that from you all. Today we're diving in to a topic that comes up again and again and again as we talk to private practice owners, and it's I don't have enough time. I need to do fill in the blank, and I just don't have enough time. I need to post more on social media. I need to take more sales call. I need to hire more staff. I need to just grow my business. But how on earth am I going to find the time to do all of this? And if you want to not watch the rest of this live, the easy answer is you don't. You will never have enough time. There, it's done. It's said. Move on, right?
Close it.
Close it down. Okay, maybe not quite. Today we want to talk about the four steps Attilio and I consistently follow, and we teach our practice owners to consistently follow to create more time, or really to utilize the time that you do have to move the big things forward that actually matter in your life and in your private practice.
Yeah, I think number one that we have to talk about is scheduling.
Yeah.
Scheduling, getting things taken care of on your schedule, and making time blocks on your schedule, quite frankly, to do the things that you need to do. There's, as we kind of go through this talk today, there's going to be core things that we'll bring up. And so if you don't make time for it, you won't ever make time for it. If you don't make time for it, you won't ever make time for it. Even blocking out little chunks of time can be significant when it comes to doing the right things,
Yeah.
when it comes to uh, just making time and prioritizing what you need to. Josh, I don't know if you have anything else on that.
Yeah, I think to get super practical, if you're trying to build a business, you need time on your calendar to build that business. And if that time isn't there in some capacity or another, it's not a priority. And then you're just holding yourself to an outcome and to a longing that will never be possible because you're not prioritizing it. Um, I remember when I was working my full-time job and I had very little capacity in my life because I was working a job and my evenings and my weekends were filled with things. And I'm like, how on earth am I going to build this business? Well, I had a 60-minute lunch break every day. And I had about 45 minutes from when I got off work to when I needed to pick my wife up from work. And I'm like, great. I have an hour and 45 minutes to build my business Monday through Friday. And that's all the time that I had. But the motivation I brought to that time block was massive. And about 10 hours a week was enough to build a business that let me quit that full-time job. And so just know that it could be big, it can be small, but unless there's a clear priority representative by your schedule, the business that you want to build and the new activities you want to pursue will not happen until that has been set.
I might say something really quick too that might sound bad. It sounds like the absolute suck. And it comes from being asked the question, Attilio, how much time do I need to spend on my business to reach this goal? Attilio, how much time do I need to spend on my business to make a 7-figure business? And really, quite frankly, the answer is you need to spend as much time as it's going to take to build a 7-figure business. I think there's a question of like deserve in this. Are you putting in the time and activities to deserve it? Because quite frankly, even if you're just looking at like how long does it take to master a skill, 10,000 hours to master a skill, we know the saying. If you only spend 20 minutes a day on it, it's good. It'll start moving you towards your goal, but it's going to take you 50 years to master it, right? And so put as much time in as you can, especially early. You might be able to move on to the next block. What do you think?
Yeah. Clarity. We have the time set aside on a weekly, monthly basis, whatever it is, needed to build the business that we want to build. Now you got to get clear. You have to work on the biggest things that will actually move your business forward. So, a couple suggestions on how to do this. Number one, ask yourself, do I know what is the top one or two, three things that if I focus on, they will create the business that I want to have? And that's all it takes. At what stage in the business? So if you're a solo practice and you don't have anyone contacting you for services, well, that's step one. We need to find more people who will contact us to work with us. We need to generate more interest in our business. Oh man, I'm getting a lot of interest, but none of these people are converting into clients. Okay, well, you need to spend more time building a great sales process and spending time doing sales for your business. You know, and on the list can go. What is the top one to two things that you should and could be spending time on in your business? And you got to fill it with that and not anything else.
Yeah, there's a really interesting way to kind of prioritize it in that it's always marketing, sales, fulfillment, and delight. Marketing, sales, fulfillment, delight. Marketing, sales, fulfillment, delight. Marketing, sales, fulfillment, delight. So if you're failing at the top, marketing, everything else fails. Right?
Yeah.
It always works like that. And then it goes sales. If you're doing okay with marketing and your sales is broken, everything else fails. Right? You have no clients. You can't fulfill services. If you're doing great at marketing, sales, and fulfillment, but no one's coming back, no one's an advocate,
Yeah.
maybe you have to work on those delight activities and then roll it back to the top. And so the same thing goes for Attilia. When do I need to hire someone? Josh, when do I need to hire someone? Well, when your marketing and sales is so good, or so, maybe you're so dialed in, you're so confident that you could fill another clinician, then it's time to hire someone else.
Yeah.
And the answer is different for different practices, but find a way to make a model to determine your big things. For me, it's always worked: marketing, sales, fulfillment, delight. Marketing, sales, fulfillment, delight.
Yeah. And I'd say be simple about how you do approach it, right? So if you're going to say, hey, I need more marketing right now, it's not scattershot the 10, 20 different types of marketing that you need. It's how do I go all in on one type of marketing, one type of sales process, one type of converting conversation, because that will actually allow you to make a measurable difference in that category with your limited time. You're saying, I want to do it all. I want to market my coaching services, and I want to market my weekend groups, and I want to market my 3 new clinicians, and I want to market, my cash pay practice while still taking insurance. Way too much. You're not going to grow by doing that, right? And we'll
I'll
come back to that point in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe one of the biggest indicators for failure is that you're doing more than one thing. I think the prioritization that so many people make for themselves is make money. That's
Yeah.
priority number one. And then they go, well, how do I make money? Idea, 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 idea. So, yeah, we'll come back to that in just a second then.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just go to step 3, which is shiny objects.
And do less. Do less
Yeah.
of them.
do lots of them, right? There is this principle where we overvalue new and better ideas, and we just gotta put them to death when we're building a new business. Attilio and I experience this on a daily basis. I have so many ideas. Whether they're good or not, I don't know, but I have a lot of ideas and I want to do something about them. But the first idea, the most actionable idea, and the one that we follow through on until that idea comes to fruition is the one that will actually pay results. Because if we stop momentum to pursue multiple ideas or to hop from one idea to one idea to one idea, it kills the progress we're trying to make. You got to stay focused on a simple activity within a consistent calendar framework.
Yeah, kind of on this do less. Guys, shiny objects never go away. Shiny objects never go away. The opportunity for you to do more is always present. There's a fundamental skill that needs to be developed that helps you understand when you're getting distracted, when you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. It's fundamentally a skill, and it comes primarily by recognizing, is this a shiny object? Is this just something I don't need to be doing right now? Is this making more complex a system that doesn't need to be complex?
Yeah.
So part of the shiny object situation is, to me, find the simplest way something could succeed and do that first. Find the bare bones simplest way something could succeed and do that first. Because what's going to end up happening is you have two opportunities. One's fancy and it takes a long time to create and compile. The other one's simple, it doesn't take a long time to compile, but both of them have an equal chance of success and failure, of letting you know whether this is a good proof of concept or not.
Yeah. A
Once you,
website is a classic example of this that we talk about a lot, which is investing 10, 20, 30, 100 plus hours sometimes into a website that isn't going to get any traffic, and you don't even know if it's going to convert the traffic that you do convert. So you probably need a simpler process to make sure your client acquisition is working before the big, bad, beautiful website comes out.
yeah, or messing around with like a bunch of landing pages, messing around with a bunch of like funnels or emails or all these other things that you've never even tried once.
Yeah.
You've never even tried once. You don't even know if your bare bones, basic, simple process is being received, or that the market is receptive to your main offer. So keep that in mind,
Yeah.
guys. How can you simplify it? How can you remove the complexity and say no to more? Recognize that there's more out there and say no to it
Yeah.
regardless.
And then I think the last one, which is supposed to be last because it is usually brought up first, and that is to grow your team, is to grow the amount of people that are working under you or with you or helping you do the doing. At every stage of business growth, you have to have the correct calendar, you have to be focusing on the correct things, and you have to not be ruining your own momentum with shiny objects. And that's true when I've had teams of 20 plus people doing a lot of stuff, and I've had teams of 3 people, or it's been just myself. So following and successfully navigating those 3 steps will always be necessary, regardless of the size of team that you hire, right? So if we're failing in those first couple areas, then no matter how many people we add to our team, that's actually not going to help or solve the problem. But there comes a point where growing your team is the best and the easiest way to expand your impact and get more done. And there's, I think, 2 categories, well, maybe 3 categories of team growth for a private practice that I want to go through. Number 1 is your clinicians. If you want or are becoming a group practice, adding more bodies that can do the clinical hours, can fulfill your service, right, will increase your ability to have cash flow coming into your business if everything else is working. Number 2 is hiring team members in one of 2 categories: tasks or activities that are really important to the business but take a lot of time. Billing, admin, uh, insurance verification, a lot of things like that. Very administrative, even like tax professionals, vendors for things like that, right? They just take a lot of time, and you're at the point where you can get them off your plate, and you should. Or emotional activities where they take a lot from you personally because of your own personal makeup, X, Y, and Z, right? So for one person, digging into the numbers a little bit or digging into X, Y, and Z isn't that big of a deal. But for you, that's just, cognitive roadblock. And so outsourcing as a result of getting more emotional energy back in your life can be a good starting point.
Yeah, buy your time back. Buy
Yeah.
your time back. Most opportunities take the same amount of time to kind of deploy,
Yeah.
but they are not all weighted the same. And so, go ahead. It sounds like you.
No, go ahead.
So, just like you might be able to realistically learn how to make a logo, it's like maybe you could just pay someone to do the thing, do it right, and get it done,
Yeah.
versus trying to figure it out, learn how to do it, scrap a few projects, go back and forth. It takes you 3 months to get a logo out. So buy back your time. Buy back your time. Don't be afraid to use money as a tool It'll come back to you. So don't be afraid to use money as a tool to buy back your time, especially on, guess what, the things we talked about today, on the big guys, on the big ones.
Yeah, 100%. And as we wrap up today, I'll leave you with one final concept. Most of you have activities and processes that are not serving your business right now. Things you either think are important, but just actually aren't, that you need to just get off of your plate, right? Because they aren't producing the result that you want them to produce. And then number two is your current calendar or your current priorities is holding you back from prioritizing the new things. You have a couple bad calendar habits you probably need to shake off. Maybe you're seeing too many clients. Maybe you are serving too much in different areas. Maybe you are fill in the blank. But there's something that is restricting your time, your energy, or your money in a way that it needs to be freed up for the opportunities for where you want to go. And be aggressive about crossing things off so it will free up your capacity to do the new stuff you actually want to do.
Yep. I love it. Guys,